Welcome to another edition of UCF Uncut. Wow, what a game against UNC. It was a great atmosphere, a great time, and I'm very, very excited to talk about the game and, things we did well, things we might need to work on a little bit. It was definitely a very, very fun game, no doubt about it. But first, before we break down the UCF game versus UNC, we're going to give out player grades. We're going to look at, some good trends we're seeing with this UCF team and heading into K-State. And then also some things that we really need to work on before K-State, as well as a quick look around the Big 12, some games from Week 3 that I think were interesting. Week 4 that I think were interesting, and, kind of see where UCF's at heading into K-State. But first, we must look at today, and it's tonight's brew of the night. And what do we have here? We have a Funky Buddha Maple Bacon Coffee Porter. You heard that right. A Funky Buddha Maple Bacon Coffee Porter. This one is a 6.4%. This could be good with a scone or maybe a breakfast of any choice, on a game day, or maybe even a nice nightcap. Pretty interesting. Funky Buddha is out of Oakland Park, Florida, down in South Florida. Yeah, they've really taken over. They're in the Florida Panthers arena. They got a whole section. They make great beer. So Funky Buddha, wow, they've really come up. So I got this at Publix, and this is a limited edition special release, I believe. It's a porter. So I will show you what a porter looks like. If you don't know, now you know. That's a proper pint right there, my friends. And look at that nice head on there. You always want to pour it in a mug. For the first listeners here maybe that aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe if you can. We're slowly building this channel, and hopefully we can keep building. So if you have any UCF friends, alumni, people who love the game like we do, just want to talk UCF football, have them come on over and subscribe. UCF Uncut. We love it. So let's give this guy a try as we always do. 1 out of 10, 10 being the highest. It's really good. If Funky Buddha puts out a product, it's usually going to be pretty good. If it hits the shelves at Publix, it's probably going to be good. That is the case here. So 1 out of 10. I really do taste the maple with a little hint of bacon. It's not overwhelming. It's really nice. I'm going to give this one an 8.1 out of 10. So an 8.1 out of 10 is the overall ranking here. And you can get this at Publix. So check this out. I'm going to leave the can in the corner if you're interested. It's pretty good. You know what else is pretty good? UCF's defense. That's a really good thing. And let's talk UCF UNC. Okay, rewind the tape. What did I say the final score would be before the game? I said I had a 38-17 UCF win. That was my call, 38-17. It ended up being 34-9. So it doesn't get much closer than that. Most people were saying it would be 27-24, 24-21. But again, they miscalculated this UCF team. And now we are 3-0. We're receiving votes in the AP Top 25 to be ranked. And this is exactly where I had UCF preseason. People thought I was crazy. Again, I have UCF finishing 9-3. I had them 9-3 before the ball kicked off game 1. Everyone thought I was crazy. I have receipts. So, with that being said, this game did not surprise me one bit. It didn't surprise me then, and it doesn't surprise me now. The outcome of this game The writing was on the wall well before the ball was kicked off. And so let's quickly go over the offense and defense and special teams. We're going to give out grades like we do every week, and we'll kind of talk about the experience, fan experience of the game, anything I saw or liked and didn't like, and then look around the Big 12, some scores around the Big 12, and was there any surprises? A lot of teams didn't play in the Big 12 this week. We're on buys, but the ones that did, there was very, very interesting results. So can't wait to get into those. But let's look at the offense. So 34-9 final. Now, the offense outperformed expectations in a weird category that I didn't think they would. I thought for us to be successful, we're going to have to really, really, really rush the ball and put up a lot rushing on this UNC defense. But it actually was the opposite. We put up 223 yards passing for a touchdown. I think that's, outperforming expectations of what I thought we would be doing. I thought we would be running a lot more. But we passed for 223, so not bad. Now, rushing the ball, we underperformed. And that's crazy because we won 34-9. So there's a lot to clean up here. We rushed for 34 carries for 143 yards and 3 touchdowns. The touchdowns are misleading. A lot of those touchdowns were goal line, short yardage bursts to get into the end zone and punch it in. But overall, we had 366 total yards of offense. From an overall total yards of offense perspective, that's pretty solid against a Power 4 team, even though it's UNC. On third down, we were 5 for 15. That is not good. You want to be around 50% on third down. We were at 30, just above 33% conversion. So that's not great. We need to be better on converting third downs. However, we were 4 for 4 on fourth down conversions. So it made up for it. When we did decide to go for it, we got it 4 out of 4 times. That's excellent. Taven Jackson. The guy, if he hasn't grown on you, go listen to his press conference post-game. I mean, the guy is all about family. He's about team. He's not about himself. And it's great to see and great to hear, and it's refreshing. We got a real QB1 here. Very exciting. He played great. Yeah, he was 25 for 32 for 223 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks. He had an 87.8 QBR. That's awesome. And he had 10 carries for 66 yards and a touchdown. He had more rushing yards than our running back 1 and running back 2. So, yeah, combined. RB1 and RB2 combined had less rushing yards than Taven had. So we're going to get into the running back grade in a second. But as a quarterback, I mean, man, he really did carry the team. He is going to go ahead and get an A- grade, first grade of the pod. Taven Jackson, A-. Really, to get an A or an A+, he's going to have to throw a couple more touchdowns. We got to see some more touchdowns through the air. But overall, A-, great performance. Great job. Taven did great. Now, let's look at the running backs. This is interesting. Overall, 45 rushing yards between Montgomery and Nixon. It's like one day they're hot, one day they're cold when it comes to explosiveness. And that's okay. As long as we're winning and we're steamrolling people, no problem. But it's just interesting. They really didn't do too well. 2 total touchdowns. Punched it in. That's good, but not great. So, 45 total rushing yards between the two of them on 19 carries. Not good. So I'm going to give them a C grade. We have a C grade from the running back room. On 19 carries, they should have had way more than 45 yards. Just is what it is. We'd like to see a little bit more consistency from the running back room. Now, we're going to take a look at the receivers. This is a really cool development, and I love to see it. The receivers at UCF, and I'm going to bunch the tight ends in this group because, when you're preparing for an opponent in college football, you're looking at, right, who who are the guys that they're utilizing? Who's getting receptions? Who do we need to look out for? Who do we need to worry for? What wrinkles do they run? What do we need to prepare for? Well, when you look at UCF's box score, I would be a little concerned if I'm K-State because UCF is dispensing the ball equally across a cast of characters. We had 9 different receivers with receptions, and it's not just one reception. They're getting multiple receptions across 9 receivers. It's a great thing to see because it's hard to prepare for. And, I'm looking at these receivers, and, only one had a touchdown. It was a tight end, Kylan Fox. It was a busted coverage play. He was faking a block and then just ran out. And the DB, I think, thought he was going to throw a block and try to avoid the block, and then he just ran down the sideline wide open, and Jackson found him for an easy touchdown. So that was great to see. I know the tight ends are focused on running first and blocking first and being a block first tight end, and that allowed that play to develop later in the game, and it worked. It worked great. So that was cool to see. But yeah, receivers. Dylan Wade, the tight end who didn't get the touchdown, he had led the receiving room for 5 catches for 47 yards. So, he is reliable. He's consistent. Great target. Dylan Wade played great. Jaden Nixon had 4 catches for 41 yards. And then Marcus Burke, 2 catches. Dwayne Thomas Johnson had 5 catches. DJ Black had 3 catches. And then Miles Montgomery had 2 catches. Wade and Charles had a catch. Chris Domercant had a catch. So 9 people got involved. Some of them had more than 2-3 catches, receptions. Love to see it. And that's important because we have a lot of versatility, a lot of playmakers. And the reads that the quarterback is making in progression is clearly working because he's finding the open receiver. Usually if you see 2 receivers with 8 or 9 receptions, that quarterback's probably locking on to those reads or to those guys and only really trust them. This tells me he trusts the entire receiving room, tight ends included. So it's really good to see. So that's exciting. So for receivers, if I had to give them a grade, I'm going to go ahead and give them a B. I love how involved they all were. I'd like to see more touchdowns, but, for what it's worth, they played well. One of them did fumble. Dwayne Thomas Jr., but didn't lose it, so that's good. Now, tight ends, they outperformed. We're going to go ahead, Dylan Wade, 5 catches, 47 yards, and Keelan Fox, 2 catches, 28 yards, and a touchdown. Love to see it. I think that's his first touchdown at UCF for Fox. Really cool. So, yeah, we're giving them an A. They outperformed. They played great. All right. Let's flip this to the defensive side of the ball, my favorite side of the ball. What did I say? I said this defense could be the best defense, or if not the best, one of the top defenses in the Big 12. And what do we see so far? That's exactly the case. Alex Grinch is doing what we hired him to do, what we thought he could do at his peak in his career, and he's doing it right now, right in front of Night Nation. We are thankful. I am thankful. We held them to 217 total yards of offense. That's it. Here's the best stat of the day. They rushed for only 63 rushing yards. That's it. 63 rushing yards. I mean, talk about an elite run-stuffing defense, those words that I just said, an elite run-stuffing defense, is something that UCF couldn't have said probably since 2017, maybe 2018. But now we're really, 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 really locking up offenses so far. We allowed 2.5 yards on average a carry. Nothing. Passing, they only passed for 154 yards on the day. So not bad. We had 2 total sacks, 4 TFLs, 2 picks. Against a Power 4 team, that's pretty good. Player of the day on defense is going to be Lewis Carter, linebacker, number 20. 10 total tackles, a sack, 2 TFLs. We're giving him an A grade. He's getting an A grade. I think UCF should put swords on the helmet, and players earn swords by being playmakers in games, kind of like Ohio State does with the Buckeye. UCF should start putting swords on the helmet, because if we did, Lewis Carter would be getting a sword. So would Taven Jackson. So very cool. Yeah, so Lewis Carter played great. Defense played very well. Overall, Philip Dunham had a strong game. Pretty much across the board, very strong game. Kelly Lawson's kind of fallen off a little bit. 2 total tackles, 1 pass deflection that was picked off, so that was cool to see. But yeah, not really as disruptive as you thought. Cole Kozlowski seems like he's hopping up and taking that spot, 4 total tackles. So we'll see. Hey, the best players will play, whoever's most effective at this point. So interesting to see. Let's see. How did our D-end, our favorite D-end, play? Let's see. Where is he? Not Najee Kelly, but where is he? Oh, Malachi Lawrence. 0 tackles. 0s all across the board for Malachi Lawrence. Interesting. All right. Rodney Laura. 2 tackles. I think he was one of the team captains. He had 2 tackles. Okay, not too bad. Sincere did well. Sincere Edwards, he did well. He had a sack, a noticeable sack, and a tackle for a loss. So that was good to see, but he only had 1 tackle. I'd like to see more usage for Sincere. But overall, not bad. So, special teams. Well, much better special teams this week. No Rulas. He was 2 for 2 on field goals, and he had a 41 long. Hey, UCF field goal kickers can kick 41-yard field goals. It's good to say. It's good to see. I'd like to see that number higher. I'd like to see more consistency. We will see it. I see it across the programs, across the country. It's only a matter of time. No Rulas. We'll see how good he really is when it's crunch time and we need him to make a 40-plus, maybe even 50-yard field goal, maybe in a hostile environment on the road. But for now, he was 4 for 4 on extra points and 2 for 2 on his field goals. So he did great. I'm giving him an A. Punting was okay. I've been a little bit hard on this Anthony Veneri transfer. He had 2 punts for 80 yards, 40 yards average. That's right down the middle. That's very average. We can get a guy from Charlotte to do the exact same thing. I looked at their punter. He's doing the exact same thing. UNC's punter, basically the same, 39-yard average. The better punters are in the 40s, higher 40s, maybe even low 50s punting average. We want that field position flipped, and 40-yard flip, not as good as we'd like on average. So for him, we'll give him a C+. But overall, special teams, we're going to give him a B. Okay? So to recap, offense is a B grade. Defense is an A-. They were fantastic. Special teams was a B. Now, we're going to get into areas of concern. Penalties. Oh, UCF, you're killing me with the penalties. We had a pick 6 by Antoine Jackson that got taken off the board because of a penalty. That is a killer. Didn't kill us in this game, but I promise you, as we get through the schedule, if this happens in a big game, it could really, really mean the difference between us winning that game, and who knows, could be huge as we get towards the end of the year. Are we going to be a contender in November? If so, we got to turn up, and we got to stop these penalties. We had 7 penalties for 40 yards. Still having the same issues. We're a very penalized team. The yardage amount has gone down, but 7 penalties is not a little amount. So we need to do better on that. I don't know what we need to do, but can't have players jumping offsides. So that's brutal. Okay, turnovers. We fumbled the ball 1 time. We didn't lose it, but we fumbled the ball. That's an area of concern. I think they'll address that. Not a huge deal. Let's look at some good signs. Some of the good signs were we won the time of possession, 33-26. So now UNC is 0-4 in time of possession in their 4 games they've played. Brutal. We created 2 turnovers on defense. Could have been 3. We'll take it. Pretty good. And here's a cool fact. Last week I was hard on the team about the way we finished the game against North Carolina A&T 2 weeks ago because we had the bye. But, when you end a game like we ended the game against UNC, you feel good. Curry Brown, they win for it on 4th down, and they get in the end zone to finish the game. That is something that you wouldn't have seen under Gus Malzahn. I guarantee it. And Scott Frost, did it, and it feels good. Other coaches that do that are successful, one comes to mind is James Franklin from Penn State. He does the same thing. I'm the same way. If I was coaching, I would be playing pretty much the starters the entire 4 quarters, unless it's a an FCS school, because it's all about the brand. Nobody's going to remember that you put in your second and third stringers in the fourth quarter when they put up another 7 or 14 points on your defense. They're just going to look at your defensive stats at the end of the year when they're trying to figure out if they're going to put you in the college football playoff, because that's the goal. So you only get so many games to really make a mark about the brand, and it's a national televised game. Run up the score, keep your starters in, and if you don't keep your starters in, still run the offense. Don't lighten up. And I think we did that for the most part. And so it was good to see. Some nice, fresh breath air. Breath of fresh air. Jeez. This 6.4, can't have too many of these. I'm just kidding. All right. Overall fan experience at the game, it was good. Good vibes, fun tailgate, beautiful weather. It was gorgeous weather. The UNC fans are strangely nice, very nice people. Can't say anything bad about them at all. They were great people, very friendly. Yeah, they were cool. They were just happy to be there, happy to be in Sunshine State, and it was a beautiful day. It was a very hot day by the time kickoff started. It was one of the hotter game days I remember, but yeah, it was a beautiful day for football. The food in the stadium, I know they said they changed the food vendors. It was the same food vendor that was there last year for where my seats were in the Cabana Club. I had Flipper's Pizza. It was terrible. I gave it like 2 out of 10. It was very undercooked. Maybe even made me sick. I'm not sure, but never getting that again. And very disappointed in the food in the Cabana Club. I'm going to have to find out. Somebody in the comments, please let me know if there's better food walking around the stadium than in the Cabana Club, because I'll just go there. Because, you want to get some food even at halftime. That's when I got food. And they were out of pepperoni pizza, by the way. Only had cheese, which I never would just order cheese. Ordered the cheese, and it was terrible. And so that was a little knock, because the food was a little suspect. But overall, great experience. I stopped at the Burger U before. I usually like to do that. Great time. A lot of draft beer on tap. It was great. Great experience. All right. We're heading into K-State. But first, let's look at the Big 12 quickly at the scoreboard. I think that there were some interesting games from this week. And, they are who we thought they were. They are who we thought they were. And that's kind of the deal. Oklahoma State loses to Tulsa. Wow. Head coach Mike Gundy is fired. He is gone. That team is in shambles. Yeah, I mean, geez, he's a great coach. I think his time just kind of ran out there. I think he needs to reset, and then he'll be a great Division I coach. A lot of schools would be happy to have him, and I think they're going to be knocking on his door to hire him very shortly. They're probably doing it already. So he'll find a job if he wants one soon as he wants. Great coach. All right. Texas Tech, wow, they smoked Utah 34-10. So they're looking really good, and Utah's not looking as good. TCU beats SMU. That was good to see for the conference. SMU, usually a group of 5 that's ranked. TCU beat them 35-24. Kansas whooped West Virginia 41-10. West Virginia is looking worse and worse as the weeks go on. Baylor loses to Arizona State 27-24. Interesting developments. Arizona State staying on track at 3-1, 1-0 in the Big 12. Very interesting. BYU crushes East Carolina. No shocker there. They're 3-0. And then Colorado scrapes by Wyoming 37-20. They're not very good this year. So that's it for the Big 12. So overall, not too many big surprises. I would say the biggest surprise would be how good Texas Tech beat Utah. Texas Tech must be the favorite to win the Big 12 at this point. I hope, we can make that game to the Big 12 and then beat Texas Tech with that, absurd roster that they put up, and I would love to see it. But anyway, overall, we're heading into K-State. We're 3-0. I called that months ago. However, this K-State team is not looking so hot. I'm going to drop a pod tomorrow. We're going to break down this opponent in K-State, find areas of opportunity of how we can expose them, how I think we could beat them. Originally, I had it as a loss for UCF. However, in good conscience, I cannot say UCF is not going to beat K-State because right now, the way we're playing and the way Kansas State is playing, we should beat them by a healthy margin, and we're going to get into that tomorrow. But yeah, I did say a couple of our road games are 50-50. If we could pop a win on the road, and Scott Frost is known to do that, our outlook for the season completely gets even better. And I have us finishing the season at 9-3. If we steal this game against K-State, which is looking more and more likely, we possibly be 10-2. We could be 10-2. We could be 10-2. Can't wait. I'm so excited, Night Nation. We finally have something to look forward to. This is very exciting developments. All right, we're checking out here live, UCF Uncut in the pub, and we will be back tomorrow. All right, talk to you soon, Night Nation. Charge on.